how many gigs?
Three.
3 gigs in 3 days. Really bad connections flying over there, and we were so tired that he actually went to sleep on a golf cart on just beside the drum and bass stage or dubstep stage.
Dubstep,
yeah, he was sleeping on a golf cart. Imagine how small it is, and he was there, and I had to go to sleep. And I say, listen, you see how it is? You lucky bastard! You can go now to sleep in here, and I have to go to play. And they said, okay, I get it. You know, we're gonna be a little bit more careful how to schedule your gigs.
Come on, it wasn't that bad. At least you had more gigs than this year.
Yeah, I had much
so
more gigs.
I think that pretty much everyone's probably online. So let's get started. Today is a very special day because we have the highest attendance so far. You might be a reason for that. So, and I think that's probably one of the biggest crowds you perform in front of this year, right?
Perform, yes.
just behind Ultra Australia in what was March?
Yeah, February. It was March, yeah.
So maybe let me just share a little story about how it all started. So we've been managing UMEK for over 10 years. And back when Facebook was still the hottest place to be if you were a musician, we were investing a lot of money into his Facebook page. So at one moment you had well over 2 million fans, right?
2.5, something like that.
And the engagement was just out of this world. So as soon as we posted any kind of content on his Facebook, likes, comments, shares, they just started raining in a couple of seconds after we did the post. And I remember when we had a gig in Space Miami, it was a time when Facebook just started with their live streaming service, and they growth hacked it in a way that when you started streaming, every fan on your page got a notification. So after I hit record on the gig, 15,000 users started watching the gig. So you were playing for what? 1,500 live audience plus 15,000 online.
Imagine
it was
that.
Crazy. And after that, Facebook kind of locked everything down, so it wasn't as effective as it used to be. But in all those years, we were kind of wandering in the dark because we couldn't really see how our investments were paying off. Of course, you got gigs, you sold releases, but there was no clear tool for measuring those effects. We couldn't effectively benchmark you, and it was just a complete mess. And then we just said, okay, let's create a tool that's going to measure how many followers DJs have on a couple of selected networks. Back then it was still MySpace. It was so long time ago. And it just kind of...
I loved MySpace, right?
Yeah, I think they still exist.
Yeah, I mean,
and yeah, it was... it kind of picked up. So we started with a little over 1,000 DJs that we manually entered into the service. And we opened up the service so anyone could add new artists. And in a matter of 18 months, we ended up with 30,000 user-generated profiles. So fans were adding DJs, DJs were adding themselves. And we said, okay, there's probably something in here. And we just created a startup called Vibrate. First we called Top DJs, but then we went away from just being an electronic music service and we renamed into Vibrate. So maybe you ask yourself, why the extra E in the domain? First, the domain was cheaper. And the second, it comes from rating the vibe. And now here we are. So we currently analyze almost 500,000 artists from all genres. We process roughly 1 billion data points at any given moment. We have around 150,000 venues, 5,000 festivals. In normal times, we had around 500,000 events as well. Not so much this year for obvious reasons. And we produce all kinds of charts. So we have popularity charts based on social media, streaming sites. But today we're going to focus on Beatport. It's going to take around half an hour for us to explain everything. And then we're going to have a Q&A session. We will be taking requests, so make sure to use the Q&A function, not the chat. If you want us to analyze any profile, or if you have any questions, our colleagues here are going to help us select the questions that we're going to process. Unfortunately, we won't be able to attend to all of you, but in case you have any questions, just feel free to email us. My personal email is vasya@vibrate.com, so VASJA@vibrate.com. I'll be happy to get back to you maybe after holidays, not right away. And then also we're gonna pick 2 winners that are gonna get UMEK's production course. This is gonna be done in around 30 minutes, so make sure to hang on. And we also have a discount code for you for 20%. We do have a free trial, so make sure to register. If you like what we're going to tell you today, you can register for free. You can try it out for a week for free, no strings attached. If you don't like it, you can cancel your subscription. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share my screen. If you want to start your free trial, just go to Vibrate, register an account, and then go to pricing here, and then you're going to have those plans. So the 7-day free trial applies to any of those accounts. So I would recommend trying out the most expensive ones. As I said, it's on us for a week, so you don't have to pay anything. Because this is going to give you access to everything that we have. So the entire database, all the metrics, including Bitport. And with a discount code that I'm going to give you later today, you're going to get 20% off. So if you choose the annual plan, you get 2 months for free plus 20% with a discount code. So you're going to save a lot of money. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple of profiles, 1605, UMEK's label, and his own profile. So let's first start with the label. We have pretty much every label in Bitport, and we measure their popularity based on a number of metrics. So in case of 1605, you can see the basic stats here. So how we're doing overall, how we're doing in our main genre, and the movements in subgenres. This is a recap of how the label is doing overall compared with labels near us. So in front and after us on the chart. The current position of Bitport charts is split into 2 pieces, so into 2 parts. So this is the genre chart, so techno, peak time, driving, and the all genre chart. And this is the current situation. You can preview a track if you click play here, or you can click buy, and this is going to take you directly to Bitport when you can purchase the track. The signature artists are the artists that actually are the hottest artists on a label right now. And this is, of course, UMEK as the label boss, plus 3 artists that we're gonna show you their profiles later on, where UMEK is gonna tell you how he uses analytics to determine who to sign on a label. Then moving down, this is a really cool metric because it shows you the percentage of the tracks that label releases and they land on popularity charts. So in case of 1605, this is green because we have 82, almost 83% of all the tracks actually go on the charts. This is probably your favorite one.
Yeah, it is, but mostly for the artist.
For the artist, but yeah,
yeah.
It's the same. I'll show you later on UMEK's profile. So it's this one tells you about how persistent the tracks are. So how many days they spend on charts. The light green marks the genre chart, and the dark green is the overall chart. And this is tracks over time. So this tells you about the ratio between quantity and quality. So the light color marks the number of release tracks, and the dark color marks tracks that got charted. So in 2020, we were really, really successful.
And you can see that in 2018, we were super quiet.
Yeah, it was, the label went on a pause, so there's no data for
definitely.
2018. The Bitport performance, this is the timeline of vibrate points, cumulative. So you can check this for 12 months, 3 years of all time. Vibrate points are actually our synthetic KPI that's derived from a number of different metrics. So it depends on the genre, on the strength of the artist, how many tracks go on charts, how they position on charts, how long they are. It's everything meshed into one metric. So this is kind of a recap of a label's history. And those are the highlights. So if you click here, it's gonna highlight below. And again, you can take a listen. The Beatport label overview. So how many different artists were released on our label and how many in the last year. And the same for the tracks. So the artists on the label are ranked by Beatport ranked, and you can also apply different filters, so number of tracks or the latest release. And if you click on an artist here, it's going to take you to this artist profile. Then the track overview with signature tracks. So those are the tracks that have performed exceptionally well lately in the last.
Probably all time.
Those are based on Bitport points. So it's those 4 tracks are also visible here. So those number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4.
But it's
and then we have and then we have the top tracks on Bitport. So if you click on a track, it's going to show you the details here. And this, you told me, is again one of your favorite ones because it will show you how the track moved across the 2 charts. So the overall chart and the genre chart, where it landed and how it moved through time. But if you go here, this is slightly different because this shows you the vibrate points. So I mentioned those are calculated from a number of different KPIs. And then finally, genre distribution in Bitport. So what kind of genres the label usually releases. So now if we move further away from the label, we're going to show you your UMEK's profile. So you're going to see that a lot of KPIs, a lot of charts look pretty much the same. And it's so much easier to use it because once you master an artist profile, it's going to be easy for you to check the label profile. So again, current positions, the same as with the labels, overview of tracks on Beatport. Again, how many tracks got on the charts. And here, another important thing is that the ratio, this is the average ratio, and this is UMEK's ratio. But we only compare this with similar artists. So because UMEK is one of the top artists on Beatport, we only compare him with artists that rank from number 1 to number 100 because it makes sense. It would make sense to compare him with all the artists that we have in our database. So how many days on top 100 charts and tracks over time? We saw the exact same thing with labels. And here we see that in 2020, you actually had more tracks on charts that you released. So why this?
Why?
Because they were dragging from 2019. So one of those tracks was released in 2019. And it was charted all the way through 2020, and this is why this is.
That means that some track did exceptionally good, and it's a
or it was released at the end of 2019, and
but still, you still had to do good, to go through.
Yeah, no? You're really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the signature Bitport tracks again based by vibrate points. And you can again check here. So which one you wanna? Let's check vibrancy. This is one of the coolest tracks that you released recently. So
recently.
Yeah, recently. So it landed on number 70 on the overall chart, which is pretty high, I would say, but it took a few days for it to get there. Let's just scroll here because this is something that we didn't see with the labels. So artists that UMEK has collaborated with. So 140 different artists all time and 10 different artists in the last 12 months. And releases on labels. So 121 releases on labels and 3 in the last 12 months. And here we see the artists that you collaborated with. So one might say that we can see the future. This is the
Friday, right?
Yeah, this 25th. So why is this? Because there's already a pre-sale running, and it already popped up on our radar. So DJ Rush, your collaboration coming out on 25th of December.
Yep.
And again, if you can check the quick stats of the artist here. If you hover over this this is a brand new feature that was released today. You can see the latest collaborations. This is a pretty cool one. And if you click here, again, it's going to take you to this artist profile. And this is how you can also navigate through Vibrate. And then we have the same thing for labels. So obviously you released the most of your tracks on your own 1605 label, followed by Toolroom, Hellier Recordings, Pacha. And again, if you hover here, it's going to show you the last tracks released on that label. So yeah, this is it. And now, away from theory into practice. So you now have the word. Who do you want to check?
I want to check my friends that were released, colleagues that were released on 1605. Okay, let's go to Cosmic Boys.
Cosmic Boys.
Okay, so when I decide to sign an artist, you need to know first thing it's all about them. I mean, it's mostly feeling how I feel about the music. If I like the music, there's a first sign that I'm going to be interested in signing an artist. But there's so many other things that I will go through his or their or hers performances, social media, all this stuff. And then obviously I'm going to go to check the data, what the data says. It's very important to see where the artist is moving. Is he already achieved the peak time, or he's just starting to rise up? And this is the data that I look most in most of the cases. This is this chart, tracks over time. This is clearly, you can see it. If the artist is doing good, you can see the growth of the highlighted, the more greener one.
The darker one.
The darker one
shows the charted tracks. So
exactly. So if you can,
quality.
Exactly. So you can see the chart through time. You see that the guys, the Cosmic Boys released like 12 tracks in 2013, and none of them were on charts. The same thing in 2014. Then you see suddenly a big peak of tracks. Released a lot of stuff in 2015 and already some charts, and then it's just growing and growing. And then you see like 2020, 21 tracks, and 19 of them were on chart. And as you see, it's really a no-brainer with data like that, and it really helps you to make that final step, that final decision. One thing is always trusting your gut, and I'm kind of sick of hearing people like, yeah, but I think this and I think that, and it's no. I want to have some supportive data. I want to be sure that I'm making the right decision. I am 44 years old. I don't want to spend my time and put it into the wrong artist. So basically, if I have a data that is gonna support my decision, then this is the way to go, and this is where the data really comes handy. Imagine. Like before, the data was always like we were judging artists always about the feeling and what we think, which is still okay, and I still trust myself a lot. But then it was always like, am I right? Am I wrong? Like I want to make a better decision, and this is what it does for me. It's an extra tool for decision, and Yeah. Okay. So this is the chart that I look to a lot. Then the next one that I like a lot is this one. You go over here and you see how to track it. Okay, this is our collaboration with Cosmic Boys. I'm gonna press let's say this one, right? And you can see how the track did. You know, you can see like how many days was it on chart. So one thing is go to the chart and you can have like a peak there, and you go there for a few days and then you just like you disappear. Obviously you want to sign an artist which has a good success through over time. You know, the sales are depending on that, and obviously you want to sign an artist which is still developing, because there's the only way how you're gonna sign them. Otherwise, they already signed to the bigger label. So yeah, the data supports that, and the chart is showing me that the tracks are doing really well, and as you see, like the tracks were there for almost for 3 months, and that's an amazing achievement for the artists. That means that they're doing really good, and I'm interested in artists like that. You know.
So what would you look for just looking at the chart? What means the most to you? So the position where the track landed on the chart, or how long was the chart, or how it moved,
Everything.
how fast it went to #1, or the highest peak? What's
I
important when
mean,
you're looking at
I
artists?
mean, there are different cases. Like for example, I can touch my track like specific flavor, which went to #1, but it landed on the chart only after 4 days. So it really shows you how well respected artist is on Beatport, how fast it goes to the chart, and then obviously if he's if there's an option to be on a really good label and you have an extra hype and you can jump in quickly to the chart, and then you don't get that peak and you just kind of go there in first few days because the buyers are super fans of the label, but you don't get that extra crowd which is buying tracks over time, and kind of sales kind of fade out. What I would love to see, it's obviously a good landing on the chart and steady growth. I mean, if there's like a peak crazy going to #1 immediately and stays there for a long time, that's the best option. But usually this chart doesn't show you like the stuff like that. But like for example, when I get a demos on 1605, and if there's an interesting artist, I will go and I will go to Vibrate. I'm gonna check his social media, the presence. I'm gonna check the mixes, how he's responding and everything. But then I will go definitely to the charts and see how his tracks are performing. If he's gonna perform nicely through the time, that's something that I want, because sales are happening not in 15 days. They're happening through period of, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, half a year, and that's a good sign of which artists are doing really well.
So you can see here again on the performance point by Vibrate, you can see how fast it grew, and it really reflects how fast it peaked here. So you would say that really high landing and a fast climb would mean that the label was doing a really nice job, and
Or it's the
the
artist is
artist is really
hyped.
popular
Yes,
on
the artist is
Bitport.
really popular.
But then after that, you also want to see that this line
Exactly.
is really stretched far far across the axis, because that would mean that they kept the track on the charts for a long time, which means
Quality.
more sales for the
Yeah,
label.
and it just means there's a quality track. Then I mean, quality is always in it's a personal taste, but let's forget about personal taste. We are now looking at the data, and there's no room for numbers don't lie. That's it on the end. You can manipulate obviously them, but through time, if the track is on chart for like 3, 4, 5 months, it's super hard to manipulate. You can manipulate numbers with I don't know, with a lot of stuff, with promotion, with friends buys and stuff like that. But usually it results with like high peaks and then suddenly disappearing from the chart. So that means that the artist is not established yet. That doesn't mean he's not going to be, but he just doesn't have a power yet to stay on the chart and sell some stuff. And obviously, as a label co-owner, for me it's important that the tracks are on the chart. On the end we are doing business. On the end we are selling tracks. So tracks. So in the end, this is really important, and numbers don't lie.
So let's do another one. Teenage
Okay.
Mutants. That was also one of the really successful releases on the label. What would you say for those guys? So obviously they have a pretty average ratio between released and charted tracks, but they are among the top
Yeah.
artists on Beatport.
Okay, the numbers here are saying they are growing up again. The ratio is good. It's not perfect. It's like the Cosmic Boys had a better ratio, but I mean the numbers look 45, 27 on tracks, 27 tracks on chart. That means they had more tracks on chart than Cosmic Boys in that in a previous year. It's just they released a little bit more tracks, but that looks good to me. Obviously, the 2015 and 16 and 17 were not their best years, but you know that might be a lot of things. Might be changing the style of the music and all this stuff. As you will see later on the chart, you'll see that the guys are actually change their style, but quality is definitely there.
But releasing a lot of tracks, is this a good sign or a bad sign?
So okay, I release a lot of tracks, and I'll be a super big hypocrite if I'm gonna say that that is a bad thing, because I released a lot of tracks and I'm still releasing the track. I kind of think that in years like in an era like we are now, fast consuming everything, we are fast consuming even music. So basically, I think it's better to release a little bit more tracks and still not be forgotten by the fans. But obviously, the best ratio would be less tracks and then obviously
and more quality.
Yeah. That would be the best option, you know. But it's yeah, that's a artist decision what he's want to do and where he sees himself, you know, how he want to position himself.
Do you also check which labels they released on?
So basically, this is something that I already know. If I know the artist, I've because I spend a lot of time on Bitport buying records, tracks, and as well I spend a lot of time on Vibrate checking this stuff. I already know. But I'm a professional. But if you're not, then this is definitely something that is going to help you how to label the artist, where he's going, you know, what was the history of the artist with the label.
So you probably wouldn't release someone who was mostly releasing on labels that you don't like or don't find compatible with.
Yes. So that's like 2010 when we started our story. I mean, even before, but we were really successful. I didn't mind that much. But today, with this data, I will definitely be more careful. I'm going to see where this artist was releasing his stuff. I'll definitely be much more careful than I was then.
Okay, let's do one more, and let's do this guy, right? Space Naidu, because we only have limited time. So yeah, we're actually so yeah, only 2 years of history. So
that's what I would say. I mean, basically he changed his name because I know Matt doing his stuff before, but as you can see, he has an amazing year. 16 release tracks and 14 of them it's are on the chart. So yeah, he's doing really well. Look at it.
This is what I wanted to show you. So this is actually the chart that you're after.
Exactly. This is what everybody wants to see. Look, number one is just stay number one for ages, and then it's like it's still there.
Yeah, it didn't want to go away. So you would say that music is definitely number one factor when deciding, and then the data is kind of a sidekick.
So basically, what it is it's the data is like a doctor. Like if you kind of, I'm going to compare it to that. Like, why wouldn't you go if you feel sick and if you want to repair something, why wouldn't you go to the doctor and see actually what is wrong, you know, with you? It's exactly the same with the data that we offer. Like, you have all this knowledge here, all this data over here. Why won't you use it? Like, why you can first you can be ignorant and say data doesn't mean anything. And that's fine by me if you like that. But on the data, you will soon see where your popularity is wearing off, or where you're gaining your popularity, and which channels are good or not. And for me, it's a big nonsense not to use this data and be still that old school, like, oh, I trust my feeling. Yes, I trust my feeling as well. But why wouldn't you check this with the data and be 100% sure with what you're doing good or what you're doing wrong? and especially because you can see what the artists that you're comparing to, you can see what they're doing really well, and it's super. I mean, for me, it's just pure ignorance if you don't trust the data. It's just yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So this is it now. We're gonna start taking questions, but first, you're gonna pick the two winners that got your free course. And an important news: we are going to let me stop this. We're going to pick another winner, so a third one, among those who are going to register a free trial account. So just go ahead. I already showed you how to do it. Just register a free account, pick a plan that you want. I strongly suggest to pick the most expensive one because the first week is on us anyway. And then we're gonna pick another winner and we're gonna announce the name on Christmas Day. So pick a number, any number from 1 to 500.
You mean 1 from 273?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So first would be 16. 160.
160. Okay. 160. Let's check. Okay. Just write it down. Write it down. So it's Christian Hacker. Congratulations.
Nice surname, Hacker, right?
And yeah.
And the next number, guess which one is going to be?
I have no idea.
No? What about 5?
5. Yeah, that's a good one. So 5, which is 5. Drum roll. But in the meantime, I can. So the code for 20% discount is obviously UMEK 20. So I'm just gonna use some tape, and I'm just gonna tape it here. We can see it.
Old school.
Yeah, it's UMEK 20.
UMEK 20.
Yeah, I think we can see it. Okay, now let's go to questions. So oh yeah, we have many of them. Okay, so Jonas is asking, what is your biggest tip for a producer that wants to launch a new concept? How do we make sure you get noticed?
I don't know. This is debate we want to have right now. We do it Vibrate, but okay.
Well, yeah, I would say how we get noticed. We can just show you how you can actually get noticed because we have charts. So you can, first to get noticed, just open an account on Vibrate, add your profile. This is the least that you can do. And then we have charts. So if you're doing a really good job, so this is where you also discover artists, right?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Like, because these days, all the big artists on techno, they are signed to the labels. They are there, and it's you don't need to be really smart that you want to sign an artist which has number ones and doing really well on chart, but you have to dig in, and then you have to scroll, and probably you have to go to 500 place on the peak time, or maybe 200 or something like that, and then you're going to find artists which are doing well, and then I'm going to do research. Obviously,
so you're probably going to filter by the genre that you're interested in, which is
I'll definitely go to
time driving. So this is the filter that you can apply.
But I would, like this is what I would use like at night, like before I go to bed. No, I really do. Like you wouldn't believe. Check my logs on Vibrate, you'll see. And then I just try to see what artists are like, a little bit less popular artists, and then I try to find them and see how they're doing, and if I'm missing something.
So which of those would you use? So obviously the Vibrate Beatport score is the default ranking, but we also have those. So how many tracks?
Like I would just start it as a default, but then obviously I would do it like this as well. I would just play around. So there's no certain rule. I already know who's gonna be on top of the charts like that. So
so this would be your tip about how to get started. So in the meantime, we got our second winner, who is Craig Lowe. So congratulations, Craig. Okay. What do you think about the sale moving in the streaming area? Less money from sales and more from streams?
Yeah, I mean, I think sooner or later we'll just be streams, you know, just the way how, or maybe even something new. It's just the way how it goes. I can tell you that, let's say 2, 3 years ago, like Spotify and the other streaming channels generated maybe 20% of the money the sales of downloads and physical did. And right now it's actually 50-50 approximately. And yeah, those numbers are actually growing like crazy. So, Spotify is and other streaming channels are literally changing the way how we make music. We are gonna do more again, these not the radio versions but like Spotify versions, because people are actually listening to the music, and those techno intros like minute and a half from the beginning and then the end are actually on the way of the listeners and how we consume music. So yeah, it's definitely going in that direction.
Okay, so this one is maybe a good challenge. So Max is asking, so does that mean a new artist with no data has no chance on releasing on your
Yes,
label?
it's true. Yes, because then it means that he is not existing. Like, because we are actually covering everything there is. So if you don't have no data, that means that you don't exist.
But if you like the track,
I don't know that. So basically, um, what would there is a chance I would release it, but it's slim to none, or like the track would need to be super, 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 super great, you know. So because I know that I'm not gonna get any support from the artist whatsoever from his channels and anything. So you know, selling that track and it's hard, and as well it's gonna be forgotten. So it's I don't know how non favors are not in his how do you say
okay,
yeah.
so Horatio is asking, I see on Vibrate profile two new features, the radio play and the playlists. Can you detail on those? Yes, those are actually the features that are coming up next year, really soon. So we have a lot of things already done. So we're just tweaking the details. And yeah, as they say, that we're gonna focus on a couple thousand radio stations. We're gonna analyze how tracks are played, so how many times the track are played on different stations, and the playlist we're gonna analyze pretty much every playlist that we can get our hands on by using our sources. So those are the upcoming features. They are gonna be available in our $99 plan. So just again, make sure to register a free account right now and just check it out. Okay, Jan's asking, does Vibrate only cover electronic artists and labels? No, we actually cover all genres, but this time this webinar is only focused on Beatport stats, but we do have other things. So let me just share the screen again. So if you want to check other artists, you can go to charts and artist charts. And here you have it. So Ariana Grande is leading the way. And if you click on her profile, you can see the social and streaming stats. So here we're not focusing on Beatport, but this is, we've been through, we had a lot of webinars focusing on this, and a lot more are coming up. So make sure to follow our channels. Uh, okay, so any questions you would like to address? So do you guys think that using Bitport like that would also benefit people in other niche genres like fusion rock and metal, for example? I don't see the direct connection with Beatport and other genres since they're not releasing a Beatport.
This is actually cool with so many fraudulent
Oh, please go
service.
ahead. I'm getting questions on all
Yeah,
all channels, so I'm just gonna focus here.
with so many fraudulent services offered to buy Bitport chart position, how can you make a decision about an artist if they are honest or buying their way into the chart? So basically, we can check behind in our 1605 data. I can see if there are some strange peaks and stuff like that, and I can immediately see if artist is buying or not. And but as well, if you can check the charts on the vibrate, and like all the suspicious things will show themselves by peaks, like going extremely high in the chart and then losing position quite fast. That is a sign of not established artist yet, or buying your stuff. So I do check that. regularly, and I definitely want to see that that they're not doing that, you know, and I'm doing that to best of my knowledge. And yeah, the data is there. You can see it. You know, you have to look a little bit more into details, but there is.
So this one is really interesting. Angela's asking, I have just taken on managing an artist. How far back in Beatport can this program take me so I can set a benchmark for end of this year to start using this program? So it doesn't matter when you sign up. We have roughly 7 years of history for Beatport data, obviously for artists that have been releasing there for 7 years. So we go quite back in time.
As well, I have to say hello to Robert Babic. How are you, man?
So if someone is trying to switch the genre from, say, trance to techno, and if their data is looking good on Vibrate, would you sign that artist to your label? That's a really good question.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I'll be honest. So I told you that the first thing is all about the music. So the data is, for me, it's a supporting thing, you know, to for decision making, you know. So basically, if I'm gonna see that the guy was in a trance style before, that obviously means a lot of work for the artist. That means a lot of work for the label, a lot of work for me to how to say, to reinvent him, or what's the word? And I know how hard it is because I've done it myself. And me having that experience, I would say it's going to be hard to sign an artist like that. Definitely. Not saying impossible, but okay.
Okay. How much do you value or compare Spotify stats versus Beatport? So what would mean more to you, to having better stats on Spotify or
Hi,
Beatport?
Sam. Yeah, so for now, I'm still in a favor of Beatport, but as I said, it's 50-50. And sooner or later, you know, Spotify is becoming such a strong player that we already can't ignore that stats. So but it's still both of them are important, you know, because one thing is streaming. It's a different crowd. It's different. It's just different. Bitport is mostly for the DJs and the guys who are actually buying music. They're owning the rights for the tracks, and then Spotify is obviously for streaming. But yeah, Spotify is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger player, even on our in our scene. Otherwise, we know very well that Spotify is huge in all genres, but it's becoming big in techno as well.
Okay, Sahav is asking, what about if I have good music, but I don't want to sign it to small or unstable labels that I can get the attention of? Attention of big ones like UMEK 1605 to sign in?
Yeah, that's $1 million question. Again, I'm going to be a little bit hypocrite, you know. I want to see. Okay, let me tell you a story about Cosmic Boys in this case. It's a really nice thing, you know. Like a few years ago, I kind of noticed that these guys, two of them, Cosmic Boys, are actually charting my stuff a lot. And first of all, I said, nothing special, this and this. And then they were charting more and more and more and more. And I saw that big supporters for me, and I got, they got my attention, you know, like I felt really cool, you know. And then I was starting to listen to their music, and I played like first track of theirs, and it was like, okay, this is a good track. And the second one a decent, and the third, and then I was like started playing their tracks, and suddenly, you know, they went under my skin, and as you see it now, they're on 1605. I did a collab with them, and they found a way they found a way to the label. And the thing what I love the most is they had their own label. They released on their label, which is quite good and really good. And I played a lot of their stuff, and they didn't give material to all the genres, and they had a focus, you know, they had a focus. And this is something that I treasure a lot. And they were the ones who were signed exclusively to 1605 as a first artist, and I'm going to give as much as attention as I can to them. They are first on priority list, you know. And or I hope the other artists will follow to that. I know it's a little bit I don't know. It's just the way it is. You know, we spoiled DJs. We want to feel special, and that's just the way how the world is. You know, and we want to have special things. I don't want to have an EP from the artist which is released on other labels which are not as good as they should be, and it's just the way how it is.
Okay, there's another one from John. Is there any plans of somehow implementing following the trend of music? What I mean is tracking direction in which the genre is moving by looking at most popular releases. So we already actually have something similar. So I'll share a screen again. So we have genre landings where we focus on the genres that we have currently in our database. So those are the genres that we have. And if you want to click on electronic, it's going to take you to electronic music genre. So this is the overview. This is publicly accessible. But if you have a premium subscription, you can click on analytics. And here we go into details. So here we have information about where the genre is most popular, how many artists from this genre and festivals we have in
That's
our
good
database.
for promoters, right? To see what to promote in which country.
Yeah, that's awesome for promoters.
Yeah.
We also have audience analytics, which is even better for promoters because we're going to tell you which cities or countries a certain artist is popular in. And this is taken from Spotify and YouTube data. But here, if we just focus on genre, we can see the rising electronic artists ranked by Vibrate popularity. This is something that we were already explaining in some of the past webinars, and we are going to focus on this again. But if you want to go deep into the genre, you can do it here. We also have special landings for countries, so you can also check who are the most popular artists or genres or festivals in a certain country. So as a promoter, this could be a really nice resource for you.
What about Bandcamp?
No, we don't plan any integration.
Why?
For now.
Is it too small for now?
Yeah, we have other bigger channels to implement. So we're going to focus on playlists in the future and radio play. So what do you think about Beatport hype to promote my label on Beatport? Is it worth it?
Huh. I don't know. For this one with the hype, that is a chart that I really don't look into. But I guess it's really cool for the artists which are upcoming with the smaller labels and everything. But yeah, let's be honest. The biggest and the most important thing it's the main chart, you know, in its genre. So try to focus on that.
Okay, Domo is asking, do you have any plans to involve track source stats on your platform? So right now we only want to focus on Beatport because obviously they are the far biggest
okay, let's throw some numbers just to see, because a lot of people are saying like Bandcamp and track source, just to get a picture, like, cause there's a lot of people are like posting, or producers like, we are #1 on track source, or DJ this or DJ that. I'm not how to say, I don't want to say bad shit to anyone, but Bitport is actually generating 80% of all the digital download. And imagine those 20% goes to all the other stores. And then obviously some will say, okay, but we don't sell on the Bitport. Yeah, but then your sales are shit, you know, because the others don't sell good. I'm not saying you shouldn't do anything else than Beatport. You should start somewhere, but just for you to imagine, like, why we don't include certain pages or stores yet, because they just don't have big audience, or how is it called?
Yeah, we're basically a big data company.
Yeah.
So in order for us to analyze a set, it needs to be big, and so we only analyze data that apply to the majority of the artists that we have in our database. And Beatport obviously is the #1 resource for electronic music, and this is why we only include Beatport. So Robert Babic is asking, could this data help me to understand if it would make sense to release under Rob Acid again, doing harder techno?
Doing harder techno.
Yeah.
Whew, this is maybe you can answer better. um, I think it's been a while since you released under that alias, so the data is, I guess, pretty old, so I don't think we're gonna get efficient data to tell you that,
Yeah, it also depends which label. So if you have any particular label in mind, the best way is just to check how they're doing. So just check their analytics profile, and if they're doing really good, then maybe it would be nice to go to them and just
Okay,
release
that,
with
yes,
them.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
If
So
you
if you
already
wanna,
if you're already thinking to release it, obviously just go to the genre and find
yeah,
the
there's a
successful
limited
label.
amount of successful hard techno
Yeah,
labels, so you
yeah,
can
yeah.
just check those. Okay, Alex is asking, UMEK said, do you think that social media have taken away the essence of electronic music? I see a lot of new DJs modeling on
Yes.
Instagram. I don't think so. No,
No,
it's
what
just it's just one of the channels that artists are using to spread their music. So it's not taking
uh,
over.
it
It
is
could.
taking over. It's truly taking over. And it's a simple answer. Yes.
But you're not
Um,
modeling on Instagram,
I
are
am,
you?
and this is why I'm not successful on Instagram. It's very
Yeah, but
simple.
you're still a successful artist. That's
I
what
am
I'm
succeed.
saying.
Yes, but I have to be super successful in other channels, and there are artists which are they are not successful in any other channel except Instagram, and they're getting more gigs than I do. So like the answer is yes, but there's always a but. It's 2020. It's just the way it is. I'm not making the rules. I think that the romantic of good music is gonna make your career really easy. It's by far gone. I think music is now responsible maybe for 25% of your career, and I think your social media is responsible 50%, and then 25% is responsible maybe for your DJ skills, like actual DJ skills. So if you have a superb DJ skills and superb production, you still have only 50% of chance to be successful. That's just how I see it.
So you would say if you act as a label boss, you would go check Beatport stats, but if you put your promoter hat on, you would go and check the social stats.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So any questions? Yeah, we have so many. So I'm gonna do a couple more, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, how do you get to post a track on Beatport if you make music alone and have no music label behind you? That would be extremely hard, I would say.
Yes,
You would need a distributor.
yeah. You definitely need a label, and then you need to sign to a distributor to make this happen for you.
So it's basically impossible.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what makes you different to Chartmetric? Yeah, we get it a lot. So Chartmetric is definitely one of the music analytics services, and they're pretty good. And we know the guys; they're amazing. They're doing a good job. I wouldn't say that they, whether you're using one or another, you can easily use both. Their data is more granular. So if you want to really go deep into details, and if you maybe work at a label as a data analyst, this could be a great resource if you do any custom analytics by yourself. But the biggest difference between Chartmetric and Vibrate is that we like to process the data. We have our own KPIs. We want to be visually more attractive, so more insightful information for maybe even someone who's not a full-time professional. So we try to make it easy to use for a wider audience. Plus, we also have some different sources. So we match the data from events that we get, so we can also analyze similar artists based on that. We have a venue database, which means that we're also gonna let you know where the artist was playing. So we're also focusing on live events, which is something that Chartmetric doesn't do. So I would say if you can afford it, you can easily use both, and you're gonna get much better answers. Okay, so platform looks great. How big is your team? How many developers are working on it? Yeah, it's a pretty good big team. So this is actually our offices in the background here. This is the part of it. So this is um, the data segment of the office. Right now we have 5 people. I don't know the exact numbers because they just come and go. And now when most of the company is working from home, it's so much harder to count them. But and when we have a really strong engineering department, a lot of developers. So it's quite it used to be very lively here, but now, as I said, pretty much almost the entire company is working from home. Okay, so let's take one last one. What do you think about releasing just singles instead of EPs in electronic music?
Yeah, so basically, I do think it's actually cool to focus on singles, but there's a catch. Because we are talking about Bitport, obviously they're running a business, so it's much easier to get a banner support from them if you have a whole EP, because then obviously the whole EP is selling not one track. So it's kind of a nonsense, for them to focusing stuff on just one track. I think sales wise, it's the best to give a banner and promotion to an album, so they can actually promote 10 tracks, not one. So when you see it, why they do stuff like they do, it is a single against EP. And I think it should be. We are in the era where the EPs, where the single is much more stronger than the EPs. But then again, yeah, promotion stuff and the sales are much stronger on the EPs, and this is how it's done.
Okay. Does Vibrate shows some forms of organic reach statistics, or is it all sales streaming based? I'm not sure what you mean by organic reach statistics, but we don't only have sale and streaming stats, so we also have social stats from all the big channels. We also analyze the information that we get from ticket providers, from Ticketmaster, Eventeam, Eventbrite. And this is something that I showed before. And we have this for all the artists in our database. And another one, how is the pandemic affecting the music industry? It's so, how is the pandemic affecting you? Spending more time at home?
I am, yeah. It's how does it like it affects everyone? It's a disaster. Luckily, I'm a producer, and I can work on a lot of new tracks. So while this lockdown is happening, I managed to do 5 or 6 more Zeta Reticula EPs, few more EPs on 1605, and some other stuff. So it's been interesting. I mean, from Monday to Friday, it's like a normal day. What the weekends are.
So yeah, it's we actually did a report after the pandemic started. We started a website called Sick Festivals, where we were tracking festivals as it got canceled and postponed, and we did a report. So what was the damage? And if I'm not mistaken, we calculated over 16 billion, right? And projected loss in only the first half of the year. So I wanted to show, okay, I'm checking Ariana Grande, right? So she used to have a lot of concerts. So let us look into how the pandemic affected her and her gigs. So if you go all the way, down, we have event analytics. So it's empty. So this is actually the part where we are comparing. So this is the analysis of live events. So and last year, those are from last year, and those are from this year. So she had one in December that obviously got canceled because it doesn't pop in here. But so, yeah, it was. I would say that the live industry was probably hit the heart of pretty much all industries, globally looking. But the recorded industry actually thrived. Spotify was profitable for the first quarter in its history, and you were all doing nothing but being just in the studio. So you had way
No, no,
more
no,
time to be productive.
But you know what's funny? No, I guess I think there were some numbers that actually even the production went down for 20%. So what I think is happening, a lot of artists fall into depression, and they're not able to make music, and some of them they had to do other jobs, you know, to support their life. So basically, I am lucky enough that I can still focus on the music, but there are DJs and artists which are not as lucky as I am. So they don't have a will to do music, or they just don't have a time because they had to go to their regular jobs, to do their regular jobs.
Okay, so I think that we answered most of the questions. Again, if you have any more questions, if you want to discuss anything, just email me, vasya@vibrate.com. Look me up on LinkedIn. I'm the only Vasya Weber on LinkedIn, so it's really easy to find me. And well, if again you want to check out Vibrate, you have a chance to try it out for free for a week. So just log into Vibrate, go to pricing, pick any account you want, try it for free for 7 days, and later on, if you wanna purchase the account, use the code behind us, UMEK20. This is gonna be valid for the next 2 days, so make sure to hurry up. So thank you everyone for attending, and I think this is it. It's a wrap. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.